Hello guys, Jagveer Singh back with another video of Mastercam 2020, and in this particular video I will be sharing my ideas on how to make a lathe part in Mastercam software in 2D first, and then in upcoming videos I will share how to do the operation and machining of that part itself. So there are two ways that I know myself personally that I will share with you in this video and in the next video itself, that how can you actually make a part in Mastercam. So if we talk about Mastercam software, it allows you to either make a 2D sketch of the model that you want to machine, or you want to visualize how it looks when it is getting machined, or you can simply bring it in by using the merge function that Mastercam allows us to access and merge a different software part, which may be a step file, it can be IGS file, or there are different formats that Mastercam support. So any formatted file from whatever the Mastercam covers can be brought into the software itself and can be used as a visual body to do the machining and operations on. So in this video I'm just going to show you how to make wireframe of any 2D model of lathe. So lathe and mill, these are the two basic fundamental structures that we always work in manufacturing, which is either you can have the parts which are rounded or which might have shapes like that I have on my left hand side on the screen itself. So this is a lathe part. If I go and check about any, let's say, 3D mill part, you can always go and check on CNC. So this is basically a mill in which the tool is the one which is going to rotate and the part is going to be fixed. Whereas in lathe, generally, well, not generally, every time the part is the one which rotates, whereas the tool is stationary. That is the big difference between mill and lathe itself. So moving on, in this particular video I will just tell you how to make the wireframe of this particular part, which we can see on left hand side of the screen itself. As I discussed in last video, I introduced you to wireframes, that how we can make wires or lines within within Mastercam when needed. So I will show you how am I going to make this particular shape using just simple line function, and also some other features like offset which are under modify, and how to trim, break, and play around with wireframe and other tools that we have under the wireframe taskbar. So this is how that I would start. I usually like to work in top plane irrespective of the plane that is given to us, and I will tell you why. So I will choose line. I chose line. I started from the midpoint itself and I make a vertical line at the top. Similarly, I will make a horizontal line on my left because our part is going to be rotating and will be inside the machine itself. So I just made two random lines with no particular dimensioning. The main purpose of these two lines are going to be that I will be using these as the references in order to offset vertically as well as horizontally to get this desired shape. You can also feel free to enter the dimension that are given to us individually, but I don't suggest you that because it might take a lot of time just to make the wireframe, and that's the main reason that I don't recommend you to do that. This way, the way that I do it, by offsetting the wireframe lines, it makes my life easy, and so I would like to share this way. So let's get started. Under the modify section, you can see there's offset. Well, in full screen, you can always have access right away, which is offset. So let me show you how offset actually works. When I click on offset, let's say my first line that I want to have is 25 millimeter apart from the origin. So I click on offset, I choose the line that I have made on the origin, vertical line, and I click on the side that I want to offset to. I click on left hand side, and it will show me the displacement of 25 millimeters, which is right now 25 as well, and this is the distance that I'm looking for with respect to the drawing. So I will click OK and create new operation, or I can also click simply OK if I just want to make one line. But for the same purpose, I want to have different lines of different distances to be continued. So I should have chosen this particular feature, which is OK and create new operation. It allows you to not to get out of the feature and continue the feature again and again until you are done with it. So in this particular case, we made the first line of 25 millimeter apart from the origin. So now we have a small slot which is approximately 5 millimeters. We do the same thing from the previous line that we finished at 25 millimeters. We are going to make a 5 millimeter far line, simply clicking on left hand side and entering the value of 5 millimeters. Similarly, I click OK and create new operation. From the previous line, I'm going to make a line at 10 millimeter apart. Similarly, from the last line, from the previous line, I'm going to make another line at 5 millimeters apart. From this particular line, I'm going to make the very last line, which is 15 millimeters apart. And that's pretty much it. We are done with the horizontal side, which is basically the Z-axis, and now I will work over the X-axis itself. So the first line that I will be looking for is from this center line, which is basically our origin. We can see that if we move upward, the first line, it says is M20 times 2.5. So sometimes we need to understand what actually the drawing is trying to say. So M20 represent the diameter, and times 2.5 is basically the length most of the times. So we are going to work with the diameter. It is already given in some drawings. If it's not given, then if it says M20, that stands for the diameter is 20 in metric. So we simply offset from the horizontal axis upwards. The distance is going to be 20 in this case. I enter 20. I still want to keep on doing the same thing again and again, so I just left it open. So similar way, the first line is going to be 20, then we have a dip which is of 14 diameter. So from the base up, the distance should be 14. Similarly, I go back up again. So I do have the line already made for 20, so I'm not going to change or make a new line. I go forward, and then I do have a radius of 5, which basically I can either do some calculations and make it available of how to compensate, or easily I can just see that what exactly I'm looking for to make a distance at. So in this particular case, we have a diameter of 30. So we do need to have the half of it, which is going to be 15 on the upper end side. Just to let you guys know, sometimes it can be really confusing, like just like right now. I think that I misunderstood the drawing and I started making right away. So that's my bad. I just wanted to let you know that this is a very common mistake that can easily happen. So always divide the diameter by 2 and don't forget to do that, because we are actually making just one half of the actual drawing. We are just trying to make the upper half, not the lower half. In terms of the z-axis, it is pretty common that it's pretty obvious and pretty simple that it's right in front of us, that all we need to do is offset again and again. But when it comes to vertical, we need to make sure that the offset is divided by 2. So basically we are going to work with radius instead of diameter. So the same mistake that I made, I hope you guys don't make it. So make sure that you always offset the half of the diameter. So what I mean by that is, instead of offsetting 20, I'm going to just offset 10. And I click 10 and I continue. Similarly, instead of 14, I'm going to have 7. Similarly, I go forward, I again have a rise, it's going to be 20 again, and then I'm going to add the radius, which is going to be 20 plus 5, which is going to be 25. So from the base to the top is going to be 25. There we go. And I think that's the last height that we have, and that's pretty much it. So we are done with the wireframe that we wanted to, but we need to trim to get exact shape that we are looking for. So for the same, I usually use divide instead of other tools. We do have trim to entities and they are pretty good tools. Let me show you an example. If I want to trim this particular feature to a particular line or to a point, I can always snap that and get rid of the extra line that is going to be there. To always go back, you can press Ctrl Z, that is the shortcut, to return to the previous sketch or step, my bad. And the best is divide. It simply work as the line that you don't want. You can simply get rid of all those lines. I click on divide, get rid of all these lines, or you can simply hold the left click and drag it to get rid of all the excess lines, just like that, just like I did. And now I need to focus on what exact lines that I need in order to make this particular shape on my left. So right now I know that the highest line is going to be the 15, which is 30 diameter, which is this one. I'm going down and then I I have a dip in the middle, continued with a straight diameter of 20. So let's go from right to left. That's what I generally do. So in this case, I'm going to start from here. I go straight. So I definitely don't need these extra lines. I don't need this, neither I need this. I go straight. Neither I need this nor this. And then I can see that, okay, we have a dip. So this is the dip that we had. We don't need this. Just to clarify, that's why I try to get rid of all the extra lines that we don't need side by side as I go along the way, so that I don't get confused later on which line should I have deleted. In the same way, there is a rise now, so I need to make sure that I delete the excess lines, this one and this one, side by side. I just go on and make sure how all the things are working, so we can see that there is a rise right now. So the line that we made is 15. It is supposed to be 15. If you always want to verify, you can go to drafting and click on smart dimension, and you can choose the line that you want to actually see what the dimension it is. So it is 25 right now, so it should be 15 plus 5, which would have given me 20. So you can see that some of times it is really important to understand the drawings carefully, so these kind of mistakes can easily happen. So it is always important to make sure and double check how the functions and the features are working. Some of the mistakes I'm doing intentionally just to let you guys understand and know that how easy it is to make mistakes, as well as that how can you identify and overcome those mistakes while you are working, rather than making it from scratch again. So just like I showed you, we can use smart dimension in order to just verify whether the part is correct or not, and we've identified that the width is 25, but whereas we are looking for 15 because the radius is 5 on the left hand side, you can see, and we need to add half of the diameter, which is going to be 15 plus 5, which is going to give us 20. So we can delete this particular feature. We are going to delete this line, and I'm going back to the wireframe, going to modify, offset, and offset one line. Instead of 25, I'm going to insert 20 this time. There we go. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be good now. And we can see that instead of, my bad, I made mistake in calculation. It should be 15. There we go. Because we have 15 right here and it is already covering the radius. I was misinterpreting the radius on the left. So always double check and make sure about what you are doing. There we go. I'm getting rid of all the lines that I don't need, and simply in a similar way, I don't need these two lines as well, nor do I need these lines in the middle. So we do need the center line at the base, so we are not going to delete that. It's just going to be these lines as well as these lines as well, which we don't want. So there it is. So that's the shape that we are looking for. Basically, the only thing that we are missing is the radius of 5, and that you can simply go to the fillet entities, click on fillet entities, and you can have the radius right here, which is a 5 by default, and you click OK. So this is how you make wireframe. And if you just want to make it more detailed, as I told you, you can always go to drafting to measure the dimension and make sure your dimensions are right. So this is 10 dimension from here to here. This is 7. Double check the radius. Well, you need to go to, let me zoom, circular, and then you can search for the radius as well. And then you can always use smart dimension the same way in order to verify all the dimensions. It's just for a verification purpose. I generally don't do it, but it's always a good practice to do in order to avoid any kind of mistakes that I showed you can easily happen. So right now we do have a half already made, and that's pretty much it for this particular video. And in next video I will tell you how exactly are we going to proceed from wireframe to making a solid, and then further in other upcoming videos I will share how are we going to do the machining of all those parts itself. Thank you for watching this video, and I would like you to go to my channel, hit that subscribe channel button, and always try to share it with your friends and whoever is willing to learn about how designing works and how manufacturing is. I would always recommend this channel to them as well. So also go and watch my other videos of SolidWorks, CATIA, V5 software. They are also pretty good software when it comes to how to design a particular part. And in upcoming further videos in advance, I'm just going to let you know that we are going to definitely bring some of the parts that we are going to design in CATIA or SolidWorks first, and then bring it in Mastercam itself to see how they work in real life while we are going to machine in any CNC machine or whatever kind of machines are available in order to generate a part. So thank you for watching again, and please do not forget to subscribe my channel and like my video. Thank you.